In this video I'm visiting the rather fine village of Cookham in Berkshire, and amongst other things I'm hoping to do a painting or two. Now I have to say, when I was planning this video I was determined to avoid the phrase quintessential English village, but I simply can't, because Cookham is a quintessential English village, so at least I'm happy I've got that out of the way. A settlement here goes back thousands of years, though Cookham is actually mentioned in the Domesday Book in 1086, and it seems like it's been doing pretty well since, as it's got a lively high street with plenty of pubs. When you pass through Cookham, you eventually come across this rather beautifully tranquil stretch of water. Now you may be surprised to learn that what lays before us here is the world famous River Thames, though you would never know it because we're far beyond the tidal reach. It's hard to believe that this very same water will eventually pass through one of the world's largest cities, beneath the Houses of Parliament and Tower Bridge. I think it's going to be a bit of a shock. Now moving on now, I have to say that Cookham has a very special place in my heart, because it is the birthplace, home and indeed muse of one of my most favourite artists, that being Sir Stanley Spencer. So whilst I was there, I took the opportunity to visit the Stanley Spencer Gallery. It's a lovely little gallery, and many of his paintings were based here. He referred to Cookham as a village in heaven. He would often paint biblical scenes, but in a modern setting, and his friends and neighbours and such were often recruited to play the parts of biblical characters, such as saints and patriarchs. And if you're a bit of a fan like me, you can wander around playing Spot the Spencer. You can also find some rather touching items, like this rather dilapidated pram he used to drag his paints around with. I could probably do one of them myself. So leaving the gallery, I thought it's about time I did some painting, and I discovered that this is actually the hottest day of the year, and I wasn't the only one feeling it. So whatever I do today, the big priority is going to be a spot of shade. And what better place to paint than the last resting place of the great man himself. And this is the Holy Trinity Church, and what a wonderful church it is. And look at those wonderful shady trees, absolutely perfect. As you move down the path, you'll find a grave marker to the great man himself, and his first wife Hilda. Not his second wife Patricia Priest, she's not on here at all, because that is a whole mad story all of its own. So now I had to find a place to paint, and after a short stroll and beneath the huge cooling arms of a horse chestnut tree, I discovered this view here, and it was just about perfect. Once I'd set myself up in the cool of the shade, I got going, and this is done with a bit of burnt umber, and it's just getting the loose shapes here and there. It's what I call the bones of things. As you're working, it's always good to keep checking in with the subject, just to make sure you stay on track. Now once the bones are in and you're happy with the structure, you can start having a bit more fun and start putting a bit of colour on. And remembering, of course, to keep checking in with that subject. At this point I could wax lyrical about tonal values, pushing this, pushing that, but I don't think you've got time. But rest assured, I finished most of it off just before I roasted to death. That said, after a bit of tidying up in the studio, here's the final piece. Now I'm off down to the river to cool down a bit. Passing beneath the road bridge, I came across these rather swanky houses. Now I was a bit worn out to do another oil painting, so I thought I'd have a quick go at a watercolor. So again, checking in with the subject, I get a quick sketch done, and with this I'm working back to front, so it's the sky first, and that kind of sets the scene for the rest of it. And from here I start working on the trees in the back there, just getting them in nice and neat. Checking in once more, I've now added the buildings, and moving forward again I can have a bit more fun putting that water in, and I've added a little barge in there just for good luck. In conclusion, here's the final watercolour, and it kind of had something about it, so I thought when I get back to the studio I'll work it up to an oil painting, and here's that too. Well, it's time for a reluctant goodbye to Cookham, and if you are in the area, do pop into the Stanley Spencer Gallery. It's well worth a visit. That's all from me for now. Many thanks for watching.